You've got something down with Mishna Berura. Okay. The Mechaber had spoken about the Titura and the Mabarta. The word Mabarta, he explains, means from the word over. It's the part of the bias in the back where the strap goes through, passes through. And the Titura is the rim, is the edge, the base, which the bias sits in.
Why is it Mabarta?
Mavar. Mavar means pass through.
Why Mabar?
It's Mabarto. It's Aramaic. It's Aramaic. It's not Hebrew. Mabarto. Like Mesechto. Right? It's Meseches in Hebrew. Mesechto. Okay, it's Aramaic. So, Memdal. Shiyosim. Afil das asovim debatim. Tzrichim lios kulam yorachas. Echod mamosh. Even those who hold that the bias has to be made of one hide. But the base and the pass-through, the strap, does not have to be made of the same piece of leather together with the bias. Even if it's separate, just fitting the bias into the base, that's sufficient. Nevertheless, in the Evsher Tov Lahadir Gambozer, Lotze is Dasa Machmir Mzer. But it's best, if it's possible, to be Yotze, the position of those who are more stringent, that even the Babarta with the Titura should be the same piece of leather as the bias. It's all formed from the same leather. Okay? Ayin Be'er Alocha. Let's see the Be'er Alocha. Yeah. Shiyosim, Ayin Mishna Berura Mashkosim Lotzeis, Hainu Das Rashi. He says to be Yotzei, the Machmirim, that even the base with the Mabarta should be of the same leather as the bias. V'gam Rambam Svirle Kirashi. To Mashkosim Akes Mishnah. The Rambam concurs with Rashi that it all has to be of one piece of leather. V'afta Agoni Pligi Alzeh. Although the position of the Gonim, they disagree. Gam Hariv Arosh Mordechai v'tur sviri kavosam, gam minig olam kavasayu. He said, and the minig is that it's made of two pieces of leather. The Titura Mabrat is not the same piece of leather as the Bayis, because there's only Rashi and the Rambam. Kol mokum tov lahadu lotzis gam datom. It's best to be madir hidur, to be yotzei. The tefillin should qualify even according to Rashi and the Rambam. V'after b'rosh Mordechai mashma chiosatov shlo lasos mir echod imabatim. He says, although there's a chumrah that it should not be. I mean, to be machmir, like Rashi and the Rambam, but according to the Rosh, it's best not to have it. So you compromise the Rosh. Ein tam b'divreim b'tiresh, he said, hakilko lo shafes manenu, mishodeh umonos habatim. The reason why the Rosh discourages is because it's not done right. But today that there's an expertise and they're more adept in this, the Rosh is concerned it doesn't apply. So if you could be Yotzei the Chumrah according to the Rambam Rashi that it should be made of one piece of leather, it's better. Hagon Reb Tivege Hifriz al Mido Shehetik Divri Hari Kurkis Harikash Demashma Minei Marza Kemi Taradin, that it should be that halachically it has to be made of one piece of leather. Rak Sholam Lo Nogu Came Bebslan Is Daiti Zeino Kamosh Ksav the Rambam Pli Alay. Okay. Further in the Mishna Berura. No, because the parchment has to be in the box. It has to be touching the leather. The actual leather. And it's not so simple.
All animal parts.
Huh?
All animal parts.
Yeah. It's not simple. Let's say you put a mezuzah on the doorpost. It says you should put the mezuzah on the doorpost. So if the mezuzah is made of wood, say min b'minei nechutzitz. When you attach the wood, so that the parchment touching the wood, the back part of the mezuzah, what about it's plastic? Right? Plastic's it's not the same material as the doorpost. So if that's the case, really, and it says the mezuzah has to be touching the doorpost. So what about if you wrap the mezuzah in, so some people are machmir, they take the backs off the mezuzah. They don't have back. They put the mezuzah actually touching the doorpost, because it says it should be on the doorpost. But factually, the mezuzah is wrapped. It's wrapped in saran wrap, cellophane, or whatever it may be. So they say that since that's to protect the mezuzah, that it becomes botel. It's like it's a chatzitza which a person is not makbid. Since it serves the mezuzah, therefore that's considered secondary to mezuzah. The mezuzah is touching the doorpost. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Doesn't. It's not. It's just it's closed. Doesn't protect it because it's wrapped. The mezuzah is wrapped in its own wrapping.
There are the tefillin that's wrapped with the part, the wrap with another part that are plain part that are around.
That's not a problem. No, because it's
no,
min
is that
b'mina.
also considered
Chatzitza.
chatzitza?
No, it's not.
It's part of the.
Right. Even though he said earlier, some hold you can use a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
Right. The Rama says if you're not parching, you use a piece of cloth. The cloth should be. So again, the question is why do you wrap it?
Protection for the.
No. We didn't get why do you wrap it. We say that the maber, it should protrude outward, so the mabarta, so the titura, it's made of one piece of leather with the mabarta, it protrudes out backwards. Ye'oroch v'nifseko, it has to be longer because you have to fit the strap through there. Mutal tov, and if it should actually tear off or become detached, you're permitted to sew it on. Shein nicker, higam b'titura tzrichel midin lios merubo, the base, what we call the titura, the base which the bias sits in has to be square. So therefore you have to have it cut it in a way where you see the squareness of the base. It says when you roll the mezuzah, you roll it from the end of the line to the beginning of the line. Beis shenos lebeso, kamo mezuzah shmiglos mi'echod klapi shma, v'lo lehepich, mitam shesbar b'yordei sim reish peches. Korchom, then it says you take a hair, what's korchom, reish hay. Then it says you wrap it, the mezuzah, with a piece of cloth, a small piece of cloth. If the person didn't wrap it, it's valid. It's valid. It should be wrapped. If he has no other pair, it seems to be with a bracha. Okay? Klaf cotton. Vuadin b'chatichas beged em ein lo klaf, ein biragro. And if one doesn't have the klaf, you could even use a piece of cloth to wrap it. B'klaf kosher, and we said it has to be made of a kosher species. The klaf that you wrap it has to either be from a kosher species, undomesticated. Ratzaloma avalomi behema v'chai tmeo. It should not be from undomesticated, undomesticated non-kosher species. Avol b'matlis. But if you use a cloth, gam l'de'ezu shapedomi. Ein, even the one who says that it has to be from a kosher species, so the question is, what about a cloth? A piece of cloth isn't from, it's not from a species. Ein beis Yosef k'shkosav b'tamadov, it came to maybe klav tzorch lius davkim namut l'ficho, molebatim, which means something which is of an edible nature, species, it has to be something which is permitted to you. So cloth is not a food item. So the application mutu b'fich has no relevance. The Gro questions whether you can use a cloth. It has to be specifically a parchment. Okay, let's see the Be'er Alocha. Yigalgu kol parsha. Now this is important. It says you should roll the parsha. You ever see some people have the mezuzah is wide open. It's not rolled whatsoever. They have it in a plexiglass case that you can actually read the mezuzah on the doorpost. It's open, totally open. It's a large case. Well, it's as wide as the doorpost, right? Is it valid? Maybe it's not valid. Maybe it has to be rolled. So he says over here, "Hu la mitzvah of lo li kuva." If one doesn't roll it, it's valid. There's a mitzvah; it should be rolled. V'korchem b'klaf koton.
So we're talking about.
No, the first day he was talking the parsha in the mezuzah, in the tefillin. Tefillin. Well, let's see. He says you should roll the whole parsha. Let's say you have a big compartment, and you don't roll it, right? It says it has to be fully rolled. If you don't fully roll it, I Mishna Berura Vatam Darosh Vatur Shaposkim Svirle Lav Halochem Mishsinahu. Hear this? That it has to be wrapped with a piece of parchment. It's not Halochem Mishsinai. Shenog Mitzorfas VaAshkenaz Shlo Lichroch Olav Dover Levad Meser. So the minhag in France and Germany was, we told them in time we shown him, that they wrapped, the only thing they put around the parchment was the hair. They didn't put a piece of cloth. The reason why the Mechaber says you put a piece of cloth, because the position of Rambam is it's a lochem mishsinai, to have the outer cloth. That even if it's not wrapped, it's not the Rambam such a primary opinion that if you don't have it, you're not permitted to say a bracha. Even if it's not wrapped, although according to Rambam it's the posel, because it's lochem mishsinai. Shlo k'machzah shekel, shenistapeg, was a machzah shekel, was the commentary of Mogen Avram, questions this, whether if the parchment is not wrapped in a piece of cloth, whether you're permitted to say a bracha on it. So machzah shekel questions it, but he cites others that you're permitted to say a bracha, because the Rambam is a minority opinion, even though Rambam is a primary opinion, but it's minority, and according to Rambam it's possible if you don't put the cloth.
So according to Rambam, the Lachlan was Sinai, according to Rambam, but
not according to anyone else. Not according to anyone else.
It is the Torah.
Well, I just want to ask you a question, a general question. When you say there are 613 mitzvot, it seems to me when you go through and through them, that there are many.
No, okay, let's talk.
What are they?
Let's talk.
What is in the 613 and what is...
I'll give you an example. There's a mitzvah chatos. Bring a sin offering. Now, that's the mitzvah. Now, what does it entail? You have to slaughter it. You have to receive its blood. You have to transport its blood. It has to be in a ministering vessel. You have to sprinkle the blood. It has to be a kohen. It can only be the sacrifice has to be eaten. It can only be eaten by males. These are all details of the chatos. But the mitzvah is one mitzvah. The mitzvah is to bring the sin offering. There's the mitzvah of tefillin. Now, what entails? What validates the tefillin? What are tefillin? They have to be square. The base has to be square. It has to be made of one hide. It has to be black. You have to have the shin on both sides. A 4-headed shin, a 3-headed shin. With the strap, you have to have shakai. It has to be processed for the sake of tefillin. And you put it in the solution in terms of the tanning. These are details. But the mitzvah is one mitzvah. The mitzvah is tefillin. And
the they 613.
But he doesn't talk about the
But
details.
each one, there must be
Sure.
scores of them.
Aspects. These are aspects to validate it to be the mitzvah.
And you call that mitzvah.
That's part. Well, it's not the mitzvah unless you meet all the criteria which the Torah sets
But
forth.
you call them mitzvahs. These aspects. Like he says over here, he calls this mitzvah. But it's an aspect.
No, the word mitzvah means it's a commandment. It's a commandment.
No, he said, who mitzvah?
No, that's something that's a hidur. That's a hidur. Even though we say Rambam.
It's not part. It's
No,
not,
that
you won't
mitzvah
find
means.
that as part of the 613.
You know, there's an expression. People speak Yiddish, like where Alan comes from neck of the woods. A Lithuanian Jew doesn't speak Yiddish this way. So Zain's a mitzvah. You ever hear that expression? Right? That's the way mitzvah is used over here. It's a mitzvah.
You won't find,
It really means it's an enhancement. It's an enhancement of the mitzvah. It's hidur. That's what it means. It's a hidur.
So like building the sukkah, is that it's not a mitzvah?
It is first. That is a mitzvah. Right.
That's one of the 613.
No. Could be. That goes under the category of mitzvah of the sukkah.
It's an aspect of the mitzvah.
Must be aspect. There's mitzvah to sit in the sukkah, and there's mitzvah to build the sukkah.
So we really shouldn't be saying that these things are mitzvot, because it's confusing. It's an aspect of the mitzvah.
Correct.
It's how to.
I mean, the argument between Rambam and Ramban, the Sefer HaMitzvahs, is how to count the mitzvahs. They're not arguing in that it is a mitzvah, whatever it may be a mitzvah. The question is it counted as a separate mitzvah, or is it a subcategory of something else? That's the question. Okay?
30,000, 613,
Definitely.
tens of thousands.
I mean, you're writing a Sefer Torah. Mitzvah, what is right? Has to be done lishma. Right? It could only be a Jew. It can't be a non-Jew. But these are all prerequisites and criteria to how to bring about what a kosher Sefer Torah is.
Same with tefillin, right?
Tefillin, the same thing. A woman is not able to write a Sefer Torah. You know that?
Be a sofer.
No, of course it has to be so. It can't be a monkey, right? Yeah, it can't be a person who doesn't know how to write. But I'm just a woman and a child's not bar mitzvah. It's not qualified to write tefillin mezuzah. Why? Because it's ukshartem uchsavtum. The one who's obligated to wear tefillin is qualified to write. Ukshartem uchsavtum. It's Gemara in Menachos. So a woman who's not obligated to wear tefillin, right? Sefer Torah also is not qualified to write. Even though the boy will eventually be bar mitzvah, but since in the state of not being an adult, he's not yet obligated to tefillin, he doesn't qualify. There was a story many years ago that when the Yemenites came, the Yemenites are very have a tremendous, very artistic, and they have an ability to do calligraphy beautifully. Now they're goldsmiths and they're artists. So artists that write well, and they needed a tremendous amount of mezuzahs. So somebody went and took Yemenite women and children, and there were tens of thousands of mezuzahs. And they could write very small and perfect, and they exported to the United States. And later it was found out they had a recall on mezuzahs. All the mezuzahs they had sent were returned, because again, the woman doesn't qualify, even though they were committed Jews. They were Shem Shabbos and everything else. A woman and a child doesn't qualify to write the mezuzah or the tefillin. Doesn't make a difference. That's a halacha in Mishma. There's a halacha in what is the qualification of the person. Only a person who's obligated to wear tefillin, neither are obligated to wear tefillin. Okay, let's see.